Hello, hello, and welcome to today's practice. So today we will prepare the body and warm ourselves up for some yummy open hip postures. As always, I encourage having a set of blocks or maybe a stack of books nearby, because you never really know sometimes when the ground is going to feel really far away. If you enjoy flowing with me, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. That way you'll be the first one to know the next time I upload a new video. So let's get started. Today, we'll start in a reclined position. So come to lying on your back. And an option here to have the soles of your feet together to touch, giving gravity a chance to give us a head start as we continue to work in opening up the hips. And if you get here and it feels like agony and it doesn't feel good for your hips, you have the option to use your blocks here. So you can take your blocks, put the soles of your feet together, and just place your blocks up under your thighs to give them something to rest on, if that's too intense without them. So you choose your adventure. This is your practice. And then coming into stillness, so wiggle your way in. Option to have one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest, or your hands down by your side. And then take a nice full body breath. So inhale fully into the belly, the diaphragm, and the chest. And then let everything go as you soften into the mat, onto the floor. Use your exhale to release tension where you're holding on to it. So just a few grounding breaths here. We won't be here super long, but it's an opportunity for your mind and your body to come into agreement. Always keeping in mind ahimsa, do no harm. So don't force your body to do things it doesn't want to do. Our time on the mat is an opportunity for us to listen to our bodies instead of us always directing our bodies. So continue to breathe and then think of a gratitude. It can be anything big or small. It can be a person, just an idea. It can be a concept, anything and everything. It could be an actual thing, just something that brings the corners of your mouths up. And then attach that gratitude to your breath. So anytime during our practice, if you lose your breath, which happens often, just come back to your happy thought and come back to your breath. It's always there for you. Take one more full body breath. Inhale into the belly, the diaphragm, and the chest. Feel your lungs expand with air and hold it at the top. And with an open mouth sigh, let it go. Come back to your pace of breath. And when you're ready, just gently blink your eyes open if they're closed. And if your gaze is softened, just refocus your gaze. And then if your legs are out wide, just taking your hands on the outsides of your thighs and gently bringing your knees, your thighs together, soles of the feet on the mat. And just give your hips a moment to settle, especially if that was intense. Good. And then option to keep the sole of your left foot on the ground as you bring your right knee in towards your chest. And you can keep the sole of the left foot on the ground, or you can extend the left leg long. So you decide which variation you would like to take here. And then bring your right knee over towards your armpit, giving yourself a nice little squeeze. And then take some circles with your right ankle. So just taking a few, 3 or 4, take your time, just notice the space that you have available in this joint. And then pause and switch directions and notice if you feel or hear any snapping or popping, and that's normal, especially if you haven't really done anything yet today. And just creating some motion and some fluid getting into that joint. And then release any tension in your ankle and just let your leg flop. And then take your hands behind the back of your thigh and then gently just start to extend and bend your knee back and forth. So be kind to your hamstrings. We're just warming up. Your knee doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Just exploring the space that you have right now. And you can play with pointing and flexing of the foot as you do that. Staying with your breath. And the next time your knee is bent, go ahead and return the sole of your foot back down to the ground. Good. Take an inhale here as you place your left hand on the front of your left hip, just as a reminder to keep that hip grounded to the mat. And then on your next exhale, open the right leg over to the right. So the knee now points towards the right. Good. And then bring the sole of the foot back to the floor as the knee now points up to the sky. And we'll do that 2 more times. So as you inhale here, exhale, let the leg open up, come to the pinky edge of your foot. Good. Keep that left hip grounded. So we're just exploring with the space we have in this right side. And then 1 more time, bringing the knee up to center. And then letting it fall over to the right. And then pause here and take a full round of breath. Breathing into that hip, maybe finding some more space as you start to release. Good. Return the sole of your right foot back down to the mat. Pause here. And then switching sides. So bringing the left knee in towards the chest. Option to keep the right foot on the ground or extend the leg out long. You decide what you'd like to do. And then hug your left knee in towards your armpit. Give yourself a nice little squeeze. Take those ankle circles now on this side. So just take your time. Notice what you're feeling. The sole of the foot, the top of the foot, the front of the shin, the back of the calf, the back of the ankle. And just see what you're creating there. Pause and switch directions. Maybe even feeling into your toes. Just taking your mind's eye to your feet. They hold you up. Good. Then release any tension in your ankle. Let it flop. And then take your hands behind your thigh and start to extend and bend your knee. Same thing. Be kind, be gentle. Just explore the space you have. Notice there might be a difference between the right and the left side. Maybe one side's more tight than the other, which is usually the case. Flowing back and forth. Staying with your breath. And the next time your foot is down, go ahead and return the sole of your foot down to the ground. Good. Placing your right hand now on the front of your right hip. Take your inhale here. And as you exhale, let your left knee open up to this side. Good. Inhale, return the sole of the foot to the ground, knee points up. Exhale, open the hip. Use your breath to soften into it 1 more time. Bring the knee up towards the ceiling. Exhale, open it up towards the side, and then stay here for a full round of breath. Use the exhale to soften in and open the hip. And return the sole of your foot back down to the ground. And then bring both knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a nice little hug. Option to just hug the knees in and keep the shoulders on the ground. Or if you're craving a little bit more, you can lift the shoulders and the head, making yourself into a nice little ball. And then release all the way down. Wrap your arms, sorry, not all the way down. Wrap your arms behind your thighs. And then just take a couple rocks along the length of your spine. Back and forth, as big or as small as you'd like. And then in your time, make your way up to a seat. And then continue moving forward. Plant your hands on the mat and make your way to a tabletop position. So coming to tabletop, have your shoulders stacked over your wrists and have your hands shoulders distance apart. Hug your arms in towards your body and rotate that upper arm so that the eye of the elbow is pointing towards the short edge of your mat. Engage your hands, gripping the mat with your fingers so you're not dumping. You want to avoid dumping into your shoulders and into your wrists. So engage the triceps to straighten the arms and engage the hands to push the floor away, and then draw your belly in. So avoid a droopy gut. Draw your belly in. Try to create a nice long line from your sacrum, so reaching back through your pelvis, but also reaching forward through the crown of your head. Beautiful. Then tuck your toes and shift your weight to your left leg and bring your right leg to hover. Keeping your knee bent, send your leg up, back behind you. Keep your belly drawn in, don't let it sag. And then open up the hip to the right side. Good, and then bring the knee, sweep it up under you. So bring the knee towards the armpit and then sweeping it up under you, and take 3 hip circles this way in this direction. So staying with your breath, make your movements slow and controlled. So instead of just using momentum to swing them around, really see how much motion, how your range of motion, how far up you can go, how far open you can go, how close can you get your knee to your body. Good. Then pause and switch directions. So now bringing the knee forward and then opening up to the side and then rotating. And take 3 circles this way. So that's 1, take 2 more. Really take your mind's eye to that hip. See if you can keep the movement coming just from the hip without including the low back. It's harder than you might think. Okay, when you finish your 3rd circle, come back to hover. And then send your right leg straight back behind you. Toe, knees, and hips all pointed down towards the ground. So square your hips towards the floor. Extend long through the heel of your back foot and reaching out through the crown of your head. And you have an option to stay here, or you can TP the left fingers. Or if you're up for it, coming into bird dog, sending your left arm straight out. So pretending, imagining that somebody has your wrist and they're pulling you forward, but somebody else has your ankle and they're pulling you back, and you're creating space in both the hip and the shoulder joint at the same time. Taking another breath, draw the belly in, try not to dump into the shoulder or to the wrist or into the belly. And then on your next exhale, release your hand and your leg back down to the mat. And then pause here as you recenter and reset. And then take your mind to your right hip. And then take your mind to your left hip. And just notice if there's a difference between the two. And then we'll do the other side. So shifting your weight now over to the right side and lift the left leg to hover. And then taking those circles on the left side, so lifting the leg up back behind you, keep the belly drawn in, opening out to the side. Good. See if you can keep your chest square to the floor as well. Take 3 circles in this direction. And stay with your breath. So controlling your breath and controlling your movement. Notice where your mind goes. Pause, switch direction. Bring your knee forward, then out to the side and open. Yeah, one more time. And when you finish the completion of that circle, come back to center, but leave the knee to hover above the ground. Good. Activate everything. Send your left leg back. Toe, knee, hip, all pointed down towards the ground. Right. Push up so you're not dumping into the wrists or into the shoulders. Option to stay here. You can TP the right fingers or send the right arm forward. So same thing, draw the belly in, push the ground away. Somebody's got your wrist, somebody's got your ankle, and they're creating space both in the hip and the shoulder joint, reaching forward, reaching back. Good, then return your hand and your leg back down to the mat. Recenter, reset, pause, and just notice the difference. Notice if you've created some extra heat, maybe some extra space. Good, from here, take 5 rounds of the cat-cow to the pace of your breath. So as you inhale, lower your belly, take your gaze forward and uplift the sacrum up towards the sky. And as you exhale, round your spine. Crown of the head comes down to the ground as well as the pelvis. Good. Flow through with your pace. So you're not going to match mine. We flow in community, not in unison. And see if you can match the beginning of your movement with the beginning of your breath and the end of your movement with the end of your breath. Really maintaining that mind-body connection, flowing through, back and forth, feeling your spine. If there's any place that feels sticky, stay there and iron it out if you want. It's your practice, it's your body. Let your conscious mind take a back seat, do the things you like to do. And when you finished playing with your cat and cow, come back to that neutral tabletop and reset. Right? Everything stacked. Hips stacked over knees, shoulders stacked over wrists. Arms are nice and active, engaged the triceps. Belly's drawn in, spine nice and long. If your toes aren't already tucked, go ahead and tuck your toes. And then send your hips back towards your heels and then up towards the sky as we come into our first Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So whatever it is you like to do in your downward facing dog for the first time, go ahead and do that so you can walk your dog, just alternating, bending and straightening your knees. You can wag your tail if that's something that feels good to you. You can do really anything. There's no rules. You can come in and out of plank. You can round your spine, cat-cow, whatever feels good. Do what your body is craving. Any kind of extra movements that you want. You can march. Don't think about it. Just do. So getting some wiggles out, a little bit extra energy, and then coming into stillness. So coming into your down dog, lowering your heels down towards the ground. They don't have to touch. That's not what's important. It's just the direction of travel. And then lifting the hips up towards the sky. Your knees can be as bent as you need to be. They don't have to be straight. So your hamstrings might not be ready for that. Come back to that ahimsa, do no harm. So be kind and only do what your body is willing to do. Yeah, drawing the belly in, nice long spine. Shoulder blades spread wide across your back as you hug your arms in towards your ears, releasing any tension in your neck, and use your hands to push the ground away. And on your next inhale, lift your heels up to the sky as you take your gaze forward. And as you exhale, bend your knees and take as many steps as you want to take to get to the top of the mat. So maybe it's one giant step. Maybe you have the energy to jump. Maybe you want to take a bunch of little teeny tiny steps. Whatever you choose is perfect. And then come to a forward fold at the top of your mat. Release the crown of your head down towards the floor. Yeah, then slowly start to roll yourself up to standing. Last thing to rise up is the head. Coming to your Tadasana. Palms face forward. Good. Let's do a couple rounds of Sun Salutation A, Surya Namaskar A. So as you inhale, send your arms up overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. On your inhale, find your halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant the hand, step back to the plank of your choice. So you decide whether or not you want to be on your knees or on your toes. Whichever one you like is the right choice. Take your vinyasa. Bend your elbows straight back, lower either halfway or all the way to your belly. As you inhale, take your back bend. Maybe it's a cobra, maybe it's an up dog. Shine your chest forward. As you exhale, make your way back to your downward facing dog. So you can go through tabletop or child's pose or straight through a push-up. Pushing straight back, come back to that Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take a full round of breath here. Exhale. Good. Lift the heels, take the gaze forward. Bend your knees, step up, jump or float to the top of the mat. Come to your forward fold. Root to rise as you come to stand. Exhale, release your arms, hands back in prayer. Good. Let's do one more round of Surya A. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Good. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step it back, find your plank. Flow through your vinyasa, Chaturanga Dandasana, or all the way to the belly. Cobra Bhujangasana or up dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Make your way back to your downward facing dog. Once you get there, pause for one full breath. Good. On your inhale, lift the heels, gaze forward. Exhale, bend the knees, step up, jump or float. Forward fold. Root to rise, come to stand. Exhale, release the arms, hands in prayer. Beautiful. Sending the arms up overhead. Interlace your fingers behind your head. As you inhale, ground down through your feet, but lift up really tall through the side body. And as you exhale, take a twist to the right. So see if you can keep your hips squared to the center or the short edge of your mat as you take a twist, thoracic twist to the right. Good. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, take your twist now to the left. Good. Inhale, coming back through center. Send the arms straight up overhead. And then exhale, coming into your forward fold. Good. Find your halfway lift. And plant your hand, step it back to a downward facing dog. Stay for a full breath and come back to your gratitude. Make a little smile. Good. On your next inhale, lift your right leg up to the sky and then bend your knee and open your hip. So see if you can square your chest and your shoulders to the floor, but lift the knee up and maybe peek up under the armpit. Good. Extend the leg, square the hips to the ground. And then on your next exhale, step your foot to the outside of your hand. So see if you can do this with control instead of with momentum. Just play and see how slow you can go and how gently can you step your foot to the outside. It's fun. Try it. And then lower the back knee. Good. So we're in a little lizard lunge. And then bringing your left hand firmly down, maybe a little bit closer to your face. Send your right arm straight out in front of you, like you're reaching. Good. And then continue to send your arm up overhead and make an arc across the ceiling as you reach back behind you. Good. Rotate the hand back forward. Return your hand back down to the ground. Good. And then do that again. So send your arm forward and then up and over and then back behind you. Option to open up the left hip and come to the pinky edge of the right hip. Open up your right hip and come to the pinky edge of your right foot as you reach behind you. And then an option to bend your left knee, bringing the heel towards your bum. And if you can reach it, maybe grab hold to it. And if you want some more sensation, maybe pull the heel a little bit closer. But press your left hand into the ground and deepen into that twist. Lifting up, finding lightness. If you have if you have hold of your foot, release your foot back down. Don't slingshot it. Release it slowly with control. And then take the arc of the arm back forward. Come back to that lizard lunge. Return the sole of your right foot back down to the ground. Good. Take an inhale here. Shine your chest forward. Try not to round down. And then as you exhale, straighten your front leg and stack the back hip over the back knee. And you have the option of lifting the toes of the front foot. So we're in like a wide-legged Ardha Hanumanasana half split. Take an inhale here, lift up halfway. You can use the blocks if you need them. And then exhale, fold forward any amount. Inhale, find your halfway lift here. And as you exhale, start to walk your hands over to the left. So keep your legs exactly where they are, but we're just taking a little twist of the torso. And really reach through that right side body. And then walk your hands back to center. Come back to that wide-legged half split. And then bend into your front knee. Plant your hands down on the ground, tuck your back toes, lift the back knee, start to shift forward. So we're going to step the back knee to the outside of your hand. And so you can take multiple steps if you need to, or one giant step and just step your foot to the outside and then lower the hips down and come to your Malasana squat. Good. If the heels lift up, that's fine. If you want to sit on a block, that's fine as well. Use the breath to see if you can convince the hips to release a little bit. Good. From here, interlace your fingers, all but the index fingers, and then ground down through the heel of your foot as you shoot yourself up to stand. Arms reaching up overhead. Good. Turn. Ooh, keep your balance. Turn your toes in. Heels coming out. Inhale, reach up nice and tall. And then exhale, take a half forward fold. So folding forward, but only halfway. So you're aiming to have your chest parallel to the ground. Good. And then bend into your right knee as you keep your left knee straight. Good. Come back through center and then bend into your left knee. Good. Come back through center. And then send your arms out to a T with the palms face down. Good, then send your arms back behind you with the palms face up. Good, coming back, palms out to a T, palms face down, arms out to a T. Good, and then arms straight out in front of you, palms facing each other. Maybe interlace the fingers. Good, on your next exhale, find a forward fold. So you're in a semi-wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, find a halfway lift. And then heel toe your feet together to the center. And root to rise, come to stand. Send the arms up overhead. And release the arms by your side. Good. So I'm going to turn just so you can see me better. But standing in Tadasana at the top of your mat, shift your weight onto your left foot and come to the toes of your right foot. Standing nice and tall, grounding down through your grounding foot and lifting up to the side body. On your next exhale, open that hip out to the side. So just like we did when we were on our back, and just play and explore. And so try to keep your hips neutral and just opening up the leg. Good. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, open it up again. Good. One more time through center. One more time, opening it up, and then pause here. So we're going to play with tree pose, but a little bit different. Instead of grabbing the ankle and pulling it all the way up as high as we'd like, that's passive flexibility. And there's nothing wrong with that, it's fun. But today, let's play with active flexibility, which simply means we're going to explore how flexible we are using just the strength of our muscle tissue, right, and our ligaments. So just kind of explore and see how high can you get your foot up your leg, and then plant your foot wherever it lands, and then ask yourself, are you okay with this, right? We all want we all want the heel as high as we can get it, but sometimes it's okay to just notice where we are. Good, and then just breathe here in your tree as you work to send the leg back behind you, squaring the hips. Maybe your hands are in Hakini Mudra for balance. Maybe you're waving in the wind as you grow your tree. Whatever feels right for you. Yeah, then bring the knee back towards center as you release your foot back down to the ground. And then sweep the arms up overhead. Come back to extended mountain. And as you exhale, take your forward fold. Good. Inhale, find a halfway lift. As you exhale, plant your hands and step back to a downward facing dog. Once you find it, reset, heels reaching down, hips lifting up. Push the ground away. Hug the arms in towards the ears. Reset, take a breath. Good, let's play with the second side. So now lift the left leg up towards the sky. Bend the knee, open the hip. Square the shoulders to the ground. Peek up under the armpit. Good, straighten your legs, square your hip. As you exhale, step your foot to the outside of your hand. So make it a game. See how slow you can go. And then slowly lower your foot to the outside of your hand, lowering the back knee. Come to your lizard lunge. Shine the chest forward. Good. Plant your right hand down on the mat. Maybe bring it a little bit closer. Send your left arm forward. Good. And then sweeping it up overhead. Reaching the arm behind you. A little twist. Good. Push the ground away. Try not to dump. Yeah? Good. Bring the arm back overhead and forward. Return your hand back down to the mat. Good. We'll do that again. Send the arm forward, up overhead, back behind you. Let the left hip open. Come to the pinky edge of the left foot. Yeah, you can stay here and just work on finding space as you push the ground away, as you open the shoulder and just work the twist. Option to bend the back knee, bringing the heel towards you. And if you can reach the foot, grab it. And if you want to, pull it in even closer as you continue to work on your twist. Work on the hip opening, work on pushing up. So many things going on at the same time. Good. If you have your foot, release it. Return it back down. Return your hand back down to the mat and return the sole of your foot back down to the ground. Take an inhale here, shine your chest forward. As you exhale, shift back, come into that wide-legged half split. Good, inhale, find a halfway lift. Exhale, take your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift again. As you exhale, walk your hands over to the right this time. Just keeping the hips high, legs stay the same, and just reaching through the left side body this time. And then walking your hands back to center. Bend back into your front knee. Return the sole of the foot to the ground. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, starting to rock forward. So getting your mind and your body in agreement to step that back foot forward on the outside of your hand and then coming back into your squat. Have a seat, take a breath. Use the exhale. If you're someone who's in a tighter hipped body, that is my testimony. This was agony for a really long time. But using the breath really helps. Good, so interlace your fingers, all but the index finger. Ground down through your heels as you shoot yourself up, arms up overhead. Good, toes turn in, heels turn out. Good, on your exhale, take your half forward fold. Bringing the chest parallel to the ground. Good, reaching long through the shoulders. Bend into your left knee, keeping the right knee straight. Good. Come back through center as you inhale, and then bend into the right knee, keeping the left knee straight. So it's like a parallel chest, narrow skandasana. Come back through center. Keep the spine nice and long. Send the arms out to a T, palms face down. Good. Send the arms back behind you, palms face up. Coming back, arms out wide, palms face down. Good. Send the arms forward, palms facing each other. On your next exhale, take the forward fold. Good. Halfway lift on the inhale. Heel toe your feet back together towards the center. Root to rise as you come to stand. And release. Release the arms down. Good. I'm going to turn again just for a better view for you. Shift your weight now into your right foot. Come to the left toes. On your exhale, open up the hip towards the left. You can, if it helps, you can have your right hand on your hip to kind of try to keep everything square. Good. Come back through center as you inhale. Open the hip. Good. One more time. Open the hip and pause here. And we get to play with our active flexibility. So taking the foot as it travels up the leg and just exploring how much space and strength you have together. And then letting the foot be where it's going to be. Good. And then working on the hip moving back, but also squaring. And then whichever arm variation you want to play with, whatever balance you want to play with. Maybe you want to sway. Maybe you want to be still. Maybe you want to focus on lengthening through the side body as you ground down to the foot and just working on actively opening that hip. Yeah, then return the knee back towards center and return your foot back down to the mat. Circle sweep arms reaching up overhead, and then exhale, take your forward fold. Good. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hand, step it back to your downward facing dog. Shift forward to the plank of your choice. So either on the knees or on the toes, and then take your vinyasa. Bending the elbows straight back, lower chaturanga dandasana or the belly. Make your way through your back bend. Cobra or an up dog. And then we'll all meet in a downward facing dog. Good. Reset. Once you're there, take a full round of breath. And we'll add on. So on your next inhale, lift your right leg up to the sky, bend the knee, open the hip. If you like to do wild thing, if that's in your practice, you can go ahead and flip your dog. So bringing your foot down towards the ground and maybe playing with lifting the hips up towards the sky. whichever wild thing variation you like to play with, if you choose to play. And then however you get there, make your way back to your three-legged dog. Send the leg back up overhead. And then exhale, step your foot to the outside of your hand. Once again, playing, going slow, using strength and not momentum. And this time, keep the knee lifted. Shine your chest forward. Send your right arm up, forward, then up overhead and back behind you. Come to the pinky edge of both feet, coming into a little lounging lizard. And just notice if you're sinking, maybe you can push up. Push the hip open and push up through the shoulder. Good, rotate back to forward. Return the sole of your foot back down to the mat. Come back to that lizard lunge. Good, and then on your exhale, straighten your front leg, send the leg back. So coming into a little extended, wide-legged pyramid. Good, inhale, find a halfway lift. And then as you exhale, walk your hands over to the left. So taking that little interesting side body stretch here. Legs stay exactly where they are. And then walk your hands back to center. And plant your hands, bend back into your front knee. And then start to shift. So you're going to take that big step or multiple steps. The back foot comes forward on the outside of the hand. Sink back into your yogi squat. Use your breath. Hands in prayer at heart center. Arms pressing against the inner thighs pressing against the arms. Good. Interlace all of the fingers except the index fingers. Ground down through your heels. Push yourself up. Arms up overhead. Good. Toes turn in, heels turn out. As you exhale, come to your half forward fold. Good. Bend into your right knee. Keep the left one straight. Good. Bend in to the left. Right one straight. Good. Come back to center. And then take your forward fold. Heel toe your feet together. Good. Root to rise. Come to stand and bring your right knee with you. Right? Lifting the arms up overhead, bringing the knee towards the chest. Good. From here, cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Work on opening up that hip. Yeah. And coming into a figure 4 chair. So options for the arms, they can be up overhead or you can bring them at heart center into prayer and just bending into that standing leg. So option here to continue to press the press the knee, right, the outside of your right thigh, pressing it down towards the floor to open the hip as you continue to bend deeply into your left knee. You can stay here and work on the hip opening. If you want to take the arm balance, you have it in your practice, feel free to take it. So for flying pigeon, lowering the hands down towards the ground, yeah, and then hooking your right foot on your arm, shifting forward, maybe lifting the heel towards the bum. This is a great place to be. Or you can fly even further, extending your leg out behind you. And when you're finished playing with your pigeon, if you're flying it, just return back to your figure 4. Good. Press down through the heel of your left foot. As you come to stand, bring your right knee with you. Yeah, and then release. Return the foot back down to the ground. Release your arms. Good. Circle sweep arms up overhead. And then exhale, take your forward fold. Inhale, find a halfway lift. And then plant the hands, step back to a downward facing dog. Pause here for a full breath. Reset. Push the mat away, hug the arms in. Belly in towards the spine. Hips lifting up. Good. Second side. Lift your left leg up. Bend the knee, open the hip. Working here on your scorpion dog. Option to flip it if you'd like. Lowering the foot down. Whichever variation you want to play with, feel free to do so. And then in your way, make your way back to your scorpion dog. And then back to your three-legged dog. And as you exhale, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Take your time. Knee stays high. Back knee stays high. Left arm reaches forward, up and over, coming to the pinky edge of both feet. Finding a fun little lounging lizard so you can sink in and then see, work this knee open, lifting up. Then rotate back to center. You turn the sole of the foot on the ground, tuck the back toes. As you exhale, straighten your front leg, come into that wide-legged extended pyramid variation. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, walk your hands over to the right this time. Legs stay where they are. Just finding a nice little side body stretch. And walk your hands back to center. Bend back into the front knee. Good, start to rock your body. You're gonna take the back foot to the front. Right foot steps on the outside of the right hand. Come back to your Malasana, yogi squat. Use the breath. Inhale. Exhale. Good, interlace all the fingers but the index fingers. Ground down through your heels. Push up. Come to stand. Arms reaching up. Toes in, heels out. Exhale, halfway lift, or halfway fold. Good, then bend into the left knee first. Good, shifting, bend into the right knee. Come back to center, take the forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, and then heel toe your feet towards each other. Good. Root to rise. Come to stand, send the arms up overhead. Exhale, release the arms, hands in prayer. Good, let's play with our figure four chair and or flying pigeon on the other side. So as you inhale, send your arms up overhead, bring your knee with you. Good, cross your ankle over your leg, open up the hip and bend into your standing leg. Option to have the hands in prayer or straight up overhead. So you can stay here and breathe into that. This is a massive amount of work. Breathing into this hip, sinking into the standing leg. If you want to take the arm balance, go ahead and do it. Lowering the hands down. Notice the difference from side to side. Hooking the foot. So really flex the foot hard and shift forward, find balance. Maybe come, bring the heel towards the bum. This can stay here. I currently do not have the flying version on this side. So if you want to fly further, go ahead and do so. Or if you want to stay here at our little baby flying crow, or flying pigeon. And then when you're ready, make your way back to your figure four chair. And then root down, send the arms up overhead, bring the knee with you. Exhale, release your arms, release your foot. Good, inhale, arms up, get really tall. Exhale, fold forward. Good. Find your halfway lift. Plant the hand, step it back, find a downward facing dog. Shift forward, come to the plank that you enjoy the most, and then take the last vinyasa of the class. So lowering either halfway or to the belly, cobra or an up dog. And then make your way back to a child's pose. Lowering the knees, sending the hips back, reaching the arms forward. If you prefer the version where your arms are down by your side, you can do that. Give your shoulders a break if they need it. And just take a couple of breaths here as we shift from the work to the cool. And if your arms are down by your side, just send them out in front of you and then shift forward. Cross the ankles behind you and then come to a seat. So bringing your knees out wide, soles of the feet on the mat. hands behind your hips. I'm going to turn this way so you can see me a little bit better of what's going on. So sitting up nice and tall, and the legs are nice and wide. And how wide they are is going to be determined on you and how much space you have. So we moved our hips in one direction quite a bit. Now we're just going to counter that a little bit. So see if you can keep your left knee still, and then take your right knee in. So you might have to fidget a little bit to find it, and that's fine. But we're just working on this kind of like half of a 90-90. So working on the knee coming in the opposite direction. And once again, be kind, right? So don't force it. Use your breath here. Use the exhale to deepen into taking the knee, the leg into internal rotation instead of external rotation. And come back through center and then do the other side. So take a breath and then let the left knee knock in. Noticing a difference, huge difference between one side and the other for some of us. Interesting. We are perfectly asymmetrical. It's normal. Breathing here, start to release. And coming back through center. And then bringing your right foot in towards your inner thigh, the left leg. Sit up nice and tall. And then exhale, just take a little side bend to the left. Reaching towards the toes. Maybe they don't touch, maybe they do. Once again, it's not important, but use the breath to get there. And slowly make your way back up. Plant your right hand behind your hip and then push into your palm and push into your shin as you lift the hips up towards the sky. Coming to a little kneeling wild thing or a rock star. I've heard it called multiple things. Okay, then lower your hips back down and then we'll switch sides. So now bringing the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Sitting up nice and tall and then taking your side bend. If you need to work into it, that's fine. Reaching towards the toes. Spinning the chest open. Using your breath. And make your way back up. Left hand behind your hip. Press into your hand, press into your shin, lift the hips up. Come into your rock star on the other side. Lowering the hips back down. And then lowering down to your back. Bringing your knees to stack over your hips, arms out in a T cross position, and then let your knees fall over to the right. Just a little gentle spinal twist. If there's another variation of this you'd like to take, go ahead and take it. You want to extend the leg, one leg, both leg, cat's tail, whatever your spine is craving. Just take a couple breaths there. And come back through center. And then let the legs drop over to the left. Same thing for the options, extending the leg, keeping them bent. One leg, both legs, cat's tail, whatever. Bringing the knees back through center, return the soles of the feet down to the ground. And if there's any other final posture that you're itching to take, if you have more energy you want to spend before we enter Shavasana, go ahead and do that now. And whenever you're ready, just extend your legs out long. Arms out to your side. Maybe tuck your shoulder blades slightly up under you, lifting the chest. Take a nice full body breath. Inhale deeply, the diaphragm, the chest. Hold it. let it go. Soften and release into Shavasana. Let go of your breath. Trust the floor to hold you. Truly relax your body. I invite you to stay in Shavasana for as long as you are willing and able to do so. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. It is always an honor to be your guide. The light in me sees, honor, and respects the light in you. Until we meet again, Om Shanti Shanti. Peace.